Okay, welcome everybody. Today we just wanted to get together and talk just a little bit about cold messaging and following up. I know this has kind of been, at the forefront of everybody's mind lately. We've been doing a lot of this and our team is really growing, but sometimes it can be, for some people it can be paralyzing. So I'm Senior Review Ambassador Brandy Walker, and we've also got Melissa Galler, Gold Ambassador, with us today. I've asked her to help me today, just share some tips with y'all. She's been really successful with her cold messaging, and so I think she has some good tips for us. So we're just going to go ahead and get started. Our first thing we want to talk about, of course, we're reaching out and cold messaging. Y'all, networking and reaching out and that kind of thing is really about relationships. And why is reaching out important? It's super important because a lot of times, when you first start, you start posting on Facebook and you're really excited about it. And, maybe in the beginning you get a lot of cold messages or a lot of messages or people reaching out to you. But y'all, if it hasn't already happened, there's going to come a day that it's just going to kind of stop. And you're going to be like, okay, what happened? Everybody was really interested and now they're not. And that happened to me. When I first started, I had people messaging me left and right. And I was really excited, and then just one day it just stopped, and I was just kind of at a loss as to what to do. And then that's when I started listening to my uplines, and they're like, this is the time that you really have to start reaching out yourself to talk to people. It can be kind of scary for some people. Some people have no problem with it, and they're not scared. I am not going to lie, I was one of those people that it almost paralyzed me for a little bit. I was really scared to do it. I never, none of us ever want anybody to feel like all we want to talk to them about is Plexus. And I'm sure I've had some conversations with some people recently that, they've had that happen, and I've had that happen too. So we want to make sure that we're not reaching out to people only about Plexus, but we're building those relationships. And even after they've already tried the product. So, go to the next slide. Okay, first of all, you've posted on Facebook daily, you're being consistent with that, and now you've got to make a plan about how you're going to reach out to people. First of all, you need to make a list of 100 people and keep adding to this list. Y'all, I've been doing this for a year and a half, and my list, I've obviously reached out to all those 100 on my original list, and then I constantly am adding people to that list. You can do that by, go through every day and make sure, where it says suggested friends on your Facebook feed or on Instagram or whatever social media you use, preferably Facebook, but Instagram is also a great social media to use. And add friends daily, y'all. Go through your husband's friend list. Go through your mom's friend list. If you've ever made contact with those people, or if you've ever met even briefly, add them to your list. Or maybe y'all got a lot of mutual friends, not necessarily Plexus friends, but a lot of just regular mutual friends. Add them. Y'all, I've had people that I've added and like 2 days later they messaged me about Plexus. So I've definitely gotten customers and ambassadors like that. Also, make sure that you go on and wish everybody a happy birthday every day. This will keep you in their newsfeed. Even, I think Brandy does this. She actually sends them a private message to wish them a happy birthday. And that's even better if you feel comfortable doing that. I think it depends on who it is with me, but I generally just wish them a happy birthday on their wall, but it will keep them in your newsfeed. And make sure you're interacting with your Facebook friends. Go through and comment and like their post and just kind of build a relationship with them through Facebook. The first time you contact them doesn't necessarily have to be about Plexus. I think that's super, super important. I think we've talked about this several times lately. There's a way to go in and set up like a group of people that aren't Plexus friends. And that way, you can just pull up just that feed and go through and look, because I know sometimes once you've been doing this for a while, like for me, I pull up Facebook and all I see is Plexus. I hardly see anybody else in my newsfeed. Y'all, that's super important that I'm staying engaged with people that I want to reach out to about Plexus that, I never have. So I've actually gone through recently and set that up. And I think Julia had posted a small video about how to do it on her Facebook page. There's actually a much easier way to do it. And if, that's a different call. But if you're interested in learning how to make a different feed, just message me and I can show you how to do it real quick. But That way you can just pull it up and you can just scroll through and see everybody that's not Plexus, and you can interact with them every day. I think it's important to do that at least once or twice a day, just to go through and, comment on their posts. And I've seen it, I've seen it happen now. I'll comment, and then next thing you know, they're over comment on my wall because apparently my stuff started showing in the feed. Again, you're going to make this list of 100. I know we beat this to death, this 5-3-1. Y'all, this is so important. Contact 5 people a day, follow up with 3, and train 1. And I'll tell you, the people that are doing this, their businesses are growing. If you're scared to cold message, I hope that you'll be a little bit encouraged after we talk today. But y'all, really the only advice that I have for that is just to do it. If you're scared, make a message and send it right before you go to bed. And put your phone down. That way you're not checking it like all day, like, oh my gosh, did they see my message? Did they, just check the message and go to bed. So if you haven't started, I think most of you on here are doing that. But anyway, that's just a tip that I have. Okay. How are you going to make contact? Melissa, is this your slide?
Yeah. Okay. How will I make contact? So you can do that face-to-face. So this can be if you're out and about, if you go to the gym a lot, maybe you've made friends at the gym, maybe you take your pink drink with you, they see you mixing it up and they ask you about it. Obviously meetings and stuff, if you, do like a play group, or if you are getting together with one of your friends for like a play date with your kids or anything like that, any type of face-to-face meeting. Over the phone. Obviously, when you cold message sometimes, there's one thing that I put sometimes in there. For me, it's a little bit harder because I'm in Italy, but for you guys in the States, you can say, oh, I'd love to chat with you about this. Is there a day I can call you? Obviously, face-to-face and over the phone are a lot better than just through messages, because people can hear the passion in your voice. They can see it in your face. It just comes across a lot better. Facebook messages, that's probably the biggest way most of us cold message. Email, if they don't have Facebook, you can do through email. Texting, if you have your phone number. One-on-one, same thing. I think that's the same thing as face-to-face, right, Brandy? In-person meeting, and then events like Sip and Sees. I've held a Sip and See before, and it went amazing. I actually feel like the smaller amount of people, the better, because they can ask a lot more questions, and you guys can share testimonies and stuff, and it's a really great way to get them to taste the pink drink, and then just to share testimonies and product information and the opportunity and stuff like that.
Yeah, I totally agree. The Sip and Sees, y'all, it does not have to be anything elaborate, or like Melissa's done it, like she said, in her house with just a few people, and that's the best way. Just make a pot of soup, or you don't have to make anything. Just have them over, just, to taste a pink drink and just hang out. And just, I just think that just a private setting like that is a lot better. Sorry, I accidentally muted myself. Okay, the next thing, and you know what? I forgot to grab something. I'll be right back. Sorry about that. I forgot my index card system. Okay, now that you've, you made a list and you're starting to reach out to people, once you start doing this for a while, it's going to get, in the beginning, I could just kind of remember who I reached out to. But you're going to need some way to track it. And I'm going to show you what I use, and Melissa's going to kind of go over what she uses. It really doesn't matter what system you use. It's just as long as you find a system and, use whatever works for you. This is what I use personally, is just a little index card box, but I actually have a couple of these. I've got one that's for my ambassadors. I've got one for prospects and one for customers. And so basically it's just got 26 letters of the alphabet. So I alphabetize them by last name. Whew, I'm out of breath. Just running in that room, this set. So anyway, And I just put like Melissa Galler, put her in the G's, you know, or trying to think of somebody, Allison, that's your first name. But anyway, if your last name started with an A, I put in the A's. And just like on the first day of the month, I just pull out all the A's and I follow up with them. And, you know, on the second day, I follow up with all the B's and so on throughout the month. And that way, I just know by the end of the month, I have reached out to all of my prospects, because I usually generally, depending on the person, reach out to them once a month. And then, of course, my customers and ambassadors, you definitely want to reach out to them at least once a month. And I would say ambassadors, especially if they're working the business, once a week at the very least. Most of the time, if you're, you know, if they're working the business, you're almost talking to them every day, but definitely make sure that you're reaching out to them at least once a week, because y'all, silence from the upline can be, you know, not very good. So, but as far as your call messages, Melissa, can you tell us how you use your calendar? I really like the way she does it.
Okay. Well, things have kind of changed a little bit for me, but I used to just have like, because things just keep growing, so you almost have to like reorganize or readjust your things. But yeah, I used to just take my calendar and I would write down on each day like who I was going to follow up with, if there were customers I needed to check in with, or ambassadors. Well, lists kind of got a little long because I was trying to fit people I was going to cold message, and you know, this box is just not quite big enough for all of that. So I do keep a running list on the side here of all the people that I are going to be cold messaging for that month. So I keep that list there. But then I also have, you know, printed lists of my customers, printed lists of my ambassadors, and then this is like a giant hundreds list of all of my Facebook friends. So I have like a long prospects list. And then I also have, which I didn't get out, but I have a list of my follow-ups as well. So all the people that I have reached out to about Plexus, that I've sent messages to and we've talked about it. And then I go through that list every Sunday evening when I have about an hour, and I make an IPA sheet for each day, Monday through Saturday. Mm-hmm. And on this, I will write down the people that I want to reach out to, the 5 new people from my friends list, and then the 3 people that I want to follow up with from my follow list, and the 3 customers or ambassadors that I want to check in on from my other 2 lists. And then I have all of these in a binder, so I'm able to go back and look and see who I contacted on what day. I make sure I date all of them, and then I just hold on to all of that. So for me, that works really, really well because I've gone ahead and planned it out, you know, like before. That way I know what I'm doing each day. And this is what I've gone over with my team a ton. So some of you guys already know that. But that's how I keep track of everything. It's been really, really beneficial for me.
Right. And it really, if you go ahead and plan out, preferably your whole month, but if you just plan out at least your week, y'all, it goes by so much quicker. You can condense, because I know for me personally, I spend a ton of time going through that list, trying to figure out, oh, who am I going to message today? But if it's already written down there for me, I don't have to think about it. I've got my 5 people that I'm going to reach out to. So my brand new people, that I'm going to have a list of customers. And at this point, I'll be honest, I probably follow up with more than just 3 people a day, because I'm going to have my customer list, and then I'm going to have my wholesale ambassadors, you know, list, and I'm going to follow up with several of each of those each day. But if I just print out that list, like Melissa said, and just write those couple of names down on each day for the entire week, or really for the entire month, then you haven't overlooked anybody by the end of the month. So I think that IPA list is awesome, and it should be in the files on my team page. If you can't find it, message me and I'll get that to you, because that is one thing that has got me super organized as well. I'm not organized by nature, y'all know that, but that has definitely helped me. So
one thing that I've also done or started doing is making a list. Like I went through my Facebook friends list, and obviously you're going to see tons of people on there that you haven't seen anything from in like forever. You don't even remember that you had them on your like Facebook list. And I've made a list of those people for like each month of people that I want to reconnect with. So I'm actually going to purposely go and search for them on Facebook and see what's going on with their life and start reconnecting with them.
Good idea.
So like I have that too. And that's helpful because then you're showing up in other people's news feeds and you're like, there's some people that I'm like, oh my gosh, I would love to see where their life is right now, and you want to like go in and see how they're doing. So.
Okay. Thanks, Melissa. Okay, the next thing, I'll just call this keep it what. Basically, you want to keep cold messages short, simple, and sincere. When I say short, I mean like 30 seconds or less. Y'all, people are busy, especially this time of year. They do not have time to read a book. I know that I get excited and there's all this stuff I want to tell them about Plexus, but you've got to find a way to keep it short and to catch their attention. The best way to catch their attention is to start off with a question, because right away they haven't tuned you out. They're like, oh, she's actually asking me a question. And we've got a couple of examples that we're going to show you. Also simple, send them what you would like to get. And again, not a book on Plexus. You can send little short messages. You can send voice messages. I think voice messages are very effective, even if you send them along with a little short cold message. Just that way they can hear your voice and hear your excitement. And, on those days that you're super busy and you don't have time, y'all, it takes literally less than a minute to send 5 cold messages if you're just using voice message. So, and there's no way to like copy and paste a voice message. So you're definitely going to be sincere. And when I say sincere, find a connection with them. I mean, if it's another mom that's, both of you got new babies, or like Allison, you guys like to run, or whatever it is, find a common ground, and you can kind of use that in a message. Melissa, this is your slide.
Okay, so biggest thing that I've been really, really telling my team lately is being yourself and using your own voice. You're going to see a lot of cold messages from different people, and what works for somebody else might not work for you, only because it's not your voice. So, and that's the same thing as with the second point here too, like stop searching for the magic words. I struggled with that a lot in the beginning. I'm just being completely honest with you guys. I was like, obviously these diamonds know exactly what to say when they're cold messaging people. They must know exactly the right words to say. There's some kind of magic message and they're just not sharing it with us. And so you're too busy, trying to search for that. And you're, listening to everybody's cold messages, and then you're copy and pasting it and sending it yourself, hoping you're going to get a good response back. And then maybe don't get a response at all. Well, most likely it's because the way that they wrote it is coming from their voice. That's, their Facebook friends know who they are and how they talk. And so when they send that type of message, it comes off, like it's them, because it is them. But if you're sending something that doesn't sound like you, your Facebook audience or your Facebook friend is going to know that, because especially if they know you personally and they talk to you, regularly, they know if it's not you. And if it's not you, everybody's just going to figure it out. Like it's just, people can tell. So the best thing to do is just try and think about, if I was sharing it with a friend, a close friend of mine, and if you have to go and do that, go share it with a really close friend of yours and see how you share it just with someone that you're comfortable with, and try to share, Plexus in that same way through cold messages. If that makes sense. Hopefully I'm not like, yeah, I hope that makes sense. Anyways, share your passion. Obviously, we all have our own story, specific things that Plexus has helped us with, whether it's, financially or, with our health and stuff, or maybe family members and stuff. So let that show when you're sharing it. If you love something and it's done something amazing for you, that's not hard to do, just to share that with others. I say relate to your prospect, just like Brandy said. If there's something that you guys do together, if you guys go to or your friend goes to the gym a lot, and Plexus has helped you tremendously with gaining muscle and helped you, with your energy in the gym or something like that, then you can use that to relate to that prospect. If they're a gym rat, well, I've been using these awesome products and I've, noticed so much more toning and muscle gain and stuff. And I think you would absolutely love it. So something like that. Or a tired mom or something like Brandy said, I always say don't rush it. That means like when you're cold messaging somebody, you don't want to try and push someone into a sale. Don't want to try to rush them into deciding on a product and ordering today. The biggest thing I've learned from this business is patience. And Brandy told me that over and over again in the very beginning. And it's so hard to be patient sometimes because you're just like, you want it. You've said you want it. Why won't you just order it? That happens all the time. But you have to be patient. People just have to be ready. And I always say to you that if someone orders when they're not ready, then they're not going to stick with it. They're going to be those ones that don't listen to you, when it comes to taking the products. They're not consistent with it. And, they might complain about it and they fall off and they just stop taking the products and then you've lost them. But so you want to wait until that person is committed, they're ready, they're looking for a change, they want to change their health. And pretty much if they want to commit to changing other things besides just taking Plexus. Those people that are like, I'm ready, I'm starting to go to the gym now, I'm making better food choices, things like that. They're getting really active. Those are the ones that are going to stick with it because they're ready for that change and they're going to commit to it. So just try not to push people. Just be patient with them. Let them know you're there. And then, every once in a while follow up with them and send them other things that they would be interested in just to keep them, knowledgeable about everything. And then last one, don't leave your friends high and dry. And I say that because if you have a friend that you've messaged about Plexus and you have maybe put something in there that, continues on kind of a conversation, but then you get the message back, they respond and they say, no, I'm not interested in Plexus at this time. Like, don't just end the message right there and never respond back because that's a sure sign that you were only reaching out to them to make a sale. That's exactly what they're going to think. So, carry the conversation on. Like I always say, like, okay, no problem, girl. Like, if somebody says like, hey, I'm not interested at this time, but maybe later on I'll say, okay, girl, I'm here whenever you're ready. Like, by the way, I just saw your trip yesterday last week to Disneyland or something. Like your kids are so cute, or anything, or obviously don't be fake. But carry that conversation and let them know that you still want to have a relationship with them. You still want to connect with them. Even if it doesn't have to do with Plexus. And same thing if you lose customers or something, like don't just say, okay, you're going to stop ordering. Okay. You never speak to them again. Like carry on a connection with them and keep talking to them and check in on them and stuff like this. We don't want anybody to think that we're just in it for money or to make a sale. Like this is all about relationships and it's all about changing lives. And that should be what what drives you with this business for sure.
Most definitely. That's super important, y'all, because Plexus, for me, it's a super important part of my life, but so are my friends that were with me before Plexus and the ones that, are no longer with me in Plexus. They're still important to me. So I want to make sure that relationship, doesn't suffer just because of this. Okay, we're just going to go over just a couple of examples. And, like we were saying, I prefer to not copy and paste messages. These are just examples. I know in the beginning I was like Melissa, and I thought the same thing about, diamonds or emeralds, whatever, they had the perfect words. And I did, copy and paste some of them. And I didn't get very many responses. And I think it's exactly like she said, that it wasn't my words. They weren't my words. So people, they know how I talk. I've got this Southern voice, and some of those messages just did not sound like it was coming out of my mouth. So, okay. I want you to keep a list of anybody that likes or comments on your post. And you can just send them something simple. Don't just keep the list. Make sure that you reach out to them. I've had a lot of this happen lately. People that are liking my posts that have been watching me for a year and a half have never liked or commented on anything. And I've reached out to them and I've had good responses from several of them. I just said something simple like, hey, I saw you like my Plexus post. Are you taking it too? Or you could say, would you like some more information on it? Just something very simple. It's non-threatening. It just, you can even say, if they say no, just say, okay, well, thanks for the support, and just carry on a conversation. Like Melissa said, just keep the conversation going. And a lot of times, or not a lot of times, every now and then they'll just say, no, I thought you looked great, or I was just supporting you or something like that. That's totally okay. But it's just really important, y'all, if they like the post, they're somewhat interested. I mean, they're looking at your post, and make sure that you're reaching out to them. And, sometimes I'm busy, and I get tons of notifications, and sometimes it's hard to remember who liked my post. So I just saw recently in a video of, I think it was Julia. I can't remember. I think she was talking about Andrea Mitchell. She said, if you can't remember and you're busy, or if somebody messages you and you can't write it down right then, take a screenshot of it, and then take all the screenshots and put them in just a follow-up album in your pictures. And I've been doing that, and it's really been helping me to be able to not lose, some of that, because sometimes they can just get lost in all the notifications. Once you start getting on a bunch of team pages and, just different things, they can easily get lost. Okay. And Grace, sorry, y'all, my daughter's home. Anyway, just the next message is just an example for somebody that you think would be good at the business. I know I keep saying this, but you would kill this business. Think about it. And while you do, take a look at my Plexus paycheck for the last 8 months. No need to respond right now. Just think. Okay, first of all, this lets them know that you think that they would be great at this business. It shows that you're not desperate. You're not asking them to make a decision right now. And I realize, that I'm Senior Ruby, and maybe my paycheck is a little bit bigger than yours is right now. I actually got this message from Brooke Smith. She's an Emerald Ambassador, and obviously her paycheck is really big. But y'all, if you're making $200 a month, then the next month you make $300, the next month you make $400, and so on. That's progression, and you can show them that every month you're making more and more money. And there's no shame in that. And we can't post exactly what we make. We can post that, that new chart that they put out. But sometimes for somebody, if you've messaged them even a couple of times and they're just not quite interested yet, sometimes they need to know that you're making real money. This is not just monopoly money that we're making. We're not just getting free products. We're actually getting enough money to pay bills and live on. So I just thought this was a really good message. I'd never really thought about sending somebody. I've told people what I make before, but I've never actually thought about sending them just a screenshot of, of actually what I make. So that's just an example. Okay, the next one is, we talked about finding something to relate to somebody with. And this one, I'm just going to read it. Hey, Brandy, are you adjusting to having a new baby? I love seeing all the precious pics. Okay, first of all, you're starting out with a question. So they're not going to just scroll by. You've already asked them a question, so they're already thinking about how they're going to answer. And then I've, told her, you've been on my mind a lot recently, because I totally remember what it was like when my babies were little and I was exhausted all the time. So now she's probably thinking, oh my gosh, she already knows what I'm going through. So you kind of, you're relating to them and what they're going through. And then I just said, I'm not sure if you've seen my Plexus post, but I would love to share a little info with you. Can I call you tomorrow? Sometimes they'll say yes. Sometimes they'll just, start a conversation with you. But that just kind of, definitely you always want to end with a question. And, sometimes I used to say, well, just let me know if you want any more information. Okay. But they don't really know that they need the information. So always try to end with a question. Like I said, can I call you tomorrow? Or can I send you some more information? Can I send you a free sample? I mean, there's lots of different ways that you can end that. But ask as many questions as you can, because then they're more likely to answer. I've also, well, we'll go over that in a minute. I'm getting ahead of myself here. Okay, Melissa.
Okay, this message is actually from Ellen Ford, and I just really, really liked it. So I wanted to share it with you guys. It says, hey, Susan, it's been forever since we talked. So I know this may seem strange to get a message from me, but for some reason you keep coming to my mind lately, and I can't shake the feeling that I'm supposed to message you. And I don't know if you guys have ever experienced that, but I have felt that way sometimes. It's like sometimes I'll just automatically think of someone that, has told me in the past or whatever, something that they've dealt with, health related or something. And I almost feel like God, personally placed that person on my heart just to, you know, tell me someone who could possibly benefit from these products, somebody that I need to share these products with. So that's why I really liked this message. Just put it in a great way to, say that to someone. She says, you've probably seen me sharing my health journey with Plexus and what the products have done for me personally. I may sound cliche, but my life truly has changed because of Plexus. I have energy to chase my kiddos around. I'm no longer a slave to junk cravings. I sleep better. If you've lost weight, you could say, I've lost, this much weight or this many inches. You may not personally need Plexus, but you might know someone who does. Could I send you some information on my favorite products to look over in case you or someone you know could benefit? And I've always heard that it's really good to put that in there to say, like, you may not need it, but if you know someone who does, I'd love for you to let me know so I can share some information with them or something like that. Because somebody that you're sending the message to might not necessarily automatically think like, oh, well, maybe they don't have any problem sleeping. Maybe they don't really deal with junk cravings, all the things that you have said personally that it's helped you with. Maybe it doesn't really pertain to them, but they do have a close friend or someone who has insomnia terribly and hasn't slept in forever. And so automatically that person's going to come to their mind. And so it could lead to, them sharing it with somebody else, which would still, you could be helping out someone else that they need help with also, something that Plexus could help them with. So I really love this message. I feel like, obviously, if this is not you, then I wouldn't share that. Any message that you do see on here that you do really like, I would just say to change it up to make it sound more like your voice. Don't copy and paste it. And then when you are messaging people, it should never be a copy and paste type thing because each person is different. So you really need to sit down and take, the time to write out their own message to them instead of just copy and pasting and just sending that same message to every person because it tends to come off that way when you do that. So just make sure that you're actually taking the time to write out a message for people individually.
I couldn't agree more. And I'm sorry, I saw like 5 typos on that one slide. I was like, can't type. So, Okay. Now that we've, talked about cold messaging, one thing I do want to add to that, Melissa said, don't copy and paste. Y'all, it's so much better to send out 3 quality messages per day or 5 quality messages per day than to send out 25 or 30 copy and paste because you're probably not going to get any replies from just copy and paste. People can see right through that. I've had other people do that to me, and honestly, it's not that I just ignore them on purpose. It's just that I just scroll past because it just doesn't mean anything to me. Like it didn't. They didn't ask me any questions. It was just a copy and paste. I know we've all done it. Yet, sometimes there are specials or whatever. I think that's a little different. Specials sometimes, but you still want to try to relate to the person as much as you can. Especially on the first contact. Follow-up is key. But this is just a sales statistic, and y'all, a lot of you have probably already seen this, but basically 48% of sales people never followed up with a prospect. Okay, so that's people that may be interested or they've reached out to you, you've reached out to them, and then 48% never even follow up. That's just crazy to me that if you've actually reached out to somebody and maybe they've said maybe or they haven't said no, y'all keep them on your list. 25% of salespeople make a second contact and then they stop. And then 12% of salespeople only make 3 contacts and stop. And then only 10% of salespeople make more than 3 contacts. So 2% of sales are made on the first contact, 3% on the second contact, 5% on the third contact, 10% on the fourth contact, and 80% of sales are made on the 5th to 12th contacts. 80%, y'all, that's huge. So that is why it's so important to keep your index card box or keep your calendar, or however, if you've ever reached out to somebody, make sure you're following up with them, y'all, especially these people that reach out to you. Sometimes, like I said, it's so easy if they reach out and you've got a ton of messages and you just forget, you're out. Find some way to keep up with us. I actually have a little thing in my phone. It's not in my notes, but you could do it in your notes. I'm going to pull it up and see if y'all can see this. It's just I don't know if you can see it right here. It's just the reminders thing that comes, it comes on your phone. It's just a little, and I don't want to delete it. I just open that, and it's nothing real organized. It's just an ongoing list of people that have either reached out to me or I need to follow up with them. And that just is like a memory jogger. If I'm out somewhere, and y'all may have a much better, more organized way to do that. But if I'm out somewhere and I've got 15 minutes and I'm just sitting there, I go through and scroll through. I'm like, ooh, I need to follow up with them. And I can do it real fast because I've got it on my phone. I know there are other apps and other things that I think Randy's got one. I forget what it's called now that she uses on her phone that she can interchange with your phone and your computer. But that's just what I do right now. It's a way for me to keep track, and it's working. So if anybody else, I'm going to unmute y'all for just a second. Does anybody have any other way that you keep up with people like that?
If you get paid 3 times.
I'll unmute.
Okay, you pay $500 from each paycheck.
No.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to mute you.
So $3,000 a month.
Okay, and these are just some ways that how you can go about following it. Every time you don't want to just say, okay, this is the first message. Hey, just seeing if you have any questions. I would love to talk to you more. No pressure, just keeping you, you just keep coming to mind. And I misspelled that too. But anyway, that's a great message just to send somebody the first time. Okay, if you don't get a reply back from them, I would try to be a little more creative the next time. You can use specials as a way to follow up. We just had a special not too long ago. That's awesome, is to follow up with every single person on your prospect list. Also, you can send a testimony to somebody. Remember, whenever you send something privately, you don't have to be compliant. You can send whatever you want. So if you know they've got a thyroid issue, or they're struggling with fibromyalgia or whatever it is, find testimonies and just something simple. Just say, hey, saw this and thought of you. Very simple. It's no pressure. I actually did this 2 days ago. And a new girl had just posted her very first testimony. And it was exactly the same thing I had been talking to a friend of mine about for a year, y'all, a year. Now she's ready to order. She had not seen any testimonies like that. And this one hit home, and I've been trying everything I can to get this girl to try the products. And she had pretty much hit rock bottom, and she's ready to try it just because I sent her a testimony. So just make sure you're doing that as often as you can. Also, diamond documentaries for people that you think would be interested in the business, or you think they'd be great at the business. Find one that relates to them. There's a diamond documentary out there for pretty much everybody, for stay-at-home moms, for hairdressers, for medical professionals, for anybody. There's pretty much a diamond doc for anything. So don't be scared to send those, and send one. Send the ones of people that we know. Julia Carty, hers is amazing, and she's our direct upline. So make sure you're sending those. And also, if you've done all that and that's not working, send non-plexus related articles. Just about health, or different. Like I said, different things they're dealing with, fibromyalgia, or, chronic fatigue. One of those that says, they could use magnesium would be really good for whatever thing they've got. Well, obviously, our BioCleanse has a lot of magnesium. You don't have to say that, but maybe it'll just, spark something in them. You just have to be creative, because sometimes it just takes the right thing for the person to see, and they're like, oh my gosh. That post we did yesterday, I think a ton of you commented on it for me, and I appreciate that, but about the what people are using their Plexus income for. I had a college student message me that she actually used to date my son. I've never met her, but she's always followed me on Instagram and Facebook, and she's this really cool girl that I think would kill this business. And she just messaged me out of the blue. I've never really had any contact with her besides that. And she just said that she saw that somebody made a comment that it would help pay off student loans. Well, she goes to the University of Alabama, and that stood out to her. So you just never know what's going to strike a nerve in somebody. So you just got to be creative and just kind of cover all your bases. Okay. Again, lists are very, very important. If you're not a list maker, I don't know, maybe you should be, because you got to find some kind of way to keep up with things. And again, we were talking about make a list of every person that likes or comments on your post, and find a way to do that and keep up with it. Take a screenshot if you can't remember. We just talked about this, and put it in an album labeled follow-ups. That has been one of the most helpful tips that I've gotten lately. If you don't have all of your Plexus graphics and things in albums on your phone, I would recommend you do that ASAP. When I first started, I'm not, like I said, organized by nature, so I was just like, I would sit and scroll for 30 minutes trying to find one graphic. Obviously, there's a much easier way to do that, and it comes very natural with some people, and some people it doesn't. So I'm just putting it out there. My life is so much easier now that I have albums. So I have an album for everything, and it just takes like 2 seconds to find it. Also, keep an ongoing list and the notes on your phone so you can follow up on the go. And that's what I just showed you. You can do it in the notes. You can do it wherever, wherever you want to do it. Just make sure that you keep a list. And I think that's pretty much all we have. We're just going to kind of open it up for questions. Let me unmute everybody.
I just had one more thing I wanted to say.
We can still put our stuff in storage.
I just wanted to say that we all need to always remember what this business is about, what Plexus is about. I know sometimes we can get wrapped up in the money side of it. We want to rank up. We want to grow in our business and everything, and we can get wrapped up in that. And if you do get too wrapped up in that, you lose sight of what we're really doing here. These products are completely changing lives. They're helping people get off medication. They're helping people deal with chemo. They're helping in so many different areas, and then also giving people an opportunity to have financial freedom at the same time. So just when you're messaging people, make sure you're coming off with that sincerity of you love these people and you want to help them, and you want to you want this for them too. And just if you feel like you're getting too wrapped up in ranking up and trying to add investors just to rank up, maybe take a little step back and go watch some testimony videos, or go read some testimonies, and get yourself back to what we're really doing here. Because obviously you don't want anybody to feel like you're just trying to make a sale, you're just trying to make money and stuff like that. So that's one thing I just feel like is a good tip that everybody just needs to always think about.
Right. And, I was talking just a minute ago, I know we're going to wrap this up because we're 30 minutes, but we never, ever want to come off desperate to anybody. I've said this from the beginning because I did it. Fake it till you make it, y'all. You cannot ever let anybody feel like you just want them to order just so you can rank up that month, or just so you can get a huge paycheck. You've got to let them know that you just at least let them think that you're doing just fine with or without their order. Just like Melissa said, patience is key. And, we don't ever want to hound anybody to death or annoy them, and nobody on here does that. I mean, y'all don't do that, but we just want to, don't sound desperate. And that's pretty much all I have. Does anybody have any questions? If you do, I'm just going to let you unmute yourself, because it gets really loud if we're all unmuted at the same time.
When you guys do sip and sees, what all do you include in doing that? Because I've been thinking about doing one for a little while now, but I'm not sure where to start and what kind of information I should give them, or
Jadon, you can go as elaborate or as small as you want. It depends on what kind of group you're going to have, but really the smaller, more intimate, the better. You can just have just the pink drink there, and maybe you can do a little slideshow if you want, or you can just talk to them. It can be very informal. Melissa's actually done one. I'll be honest, I've never done one here, so I've never actually done a sip and see. So
We just, I created like a little slideshow, and then I think I had Kimberly and Christina Britton and then Samantha Moreno there. And so we each shared our testimony, and then each of us took different products, and we just kind of like broke it up and did a couple of products, talked a little bit about them, shared our testimony. They got to taste the pink drink. We did a few games just to keep everybody like involved with each other, you know, and make it fun as well. And then we had the products set up. In front of them, we had like the little pamphlets and the opportunity brochures. And then people talked about, you know, anything that they've dealt with too. Like I said, they tried the pink drink, and it was just very casual. I just keep it fun and short.
right. And there's an actual post on my team page. If you search for Sip and See on my team page, there should be a couple of posts, and there's one that's got, I think it's from Angie Zumwalt, that has a whole, it's just like a plan to see. So it's, I think that's one Melissa got to begin with. It doesn't have to be exactly like that, but it's just kind of an idea of what to do.
I have a question. Is there somewhere where you have some of these scripts written down so that we can take them and kind of make them our own without having to start over?
Yeah, I can send you the ones from on here, and then it also on my team page. If you just search call message, you'll just see a whole bunch of posts come up, because there's a lot of different ones. I can actually go on, because some of them may not say call message, but I can go in and tag you in some of them, and there's a lot of ones. And that, you know,
Okay.
always say don't copy and paste, but that's a good way to start out. You know, if you haven't.
Yeah, I've been taking things and I'll copy and paste and then go in and kind of adjust things here and there so that it sounds more like me, but it saves me from having to start from scratch and then kind of get, I guess, my version of writer's block, where I'm like, I have no idea what to write.
Right. It is good to just kind of have just something to start with. So yeah, I'm going to write that down. So if I forget after this, just message me.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else? I can't see all of you. Okay. I'm going to stop recording.